Hey there. Hello, how do you do? My name is Harry Wetzel. Thanks for coming. It's the 80s, darling. Yes, it is. It is November 28th, 1983. And I just got run over by a car, killed, dead, almost. They missed me because I had a balletic leap. And when I leapt for my life, I saw my life flash before my very eyes in a series of images. And in the course of those series of flashes, right now, it is 1980. It's the 80s, darling. And it is April 1980. And my friend Rodent is in the University of Detroit, uh, the Bachelor of Fine Arts acting program, the BFA program. And he's in a couple of shows every now and then. He says, "Come on up and see him." So I go on over there and I see this show and that show. And I go out afterwards with the company, with the gang, with the crowd, and go to the bar, the Spark Plug. It was actually called the Park Club, but we would go to the Spark Plug. No. We would go to the Golden 20s in the earlier days. Yes, the 20s. Anyhow, we'd go to these bars and hang around. I got to know the company. And in the course of getting to know the company, one of Rodent's, classmates, one of the U of Deers, was a director named Weasel. And he actually kind of looked a little bit like one. Anyhow, he was directing a show, and Rodent was going to be in it, and a couple of the other pretty good actors from the U of D company. But he was having trouble casting one of the roles. And I said, "Yeah, what do you mean?" He says, "Well, um, he's got cerebral palsy." And I'm like, "Yeah, it sounds great." He said, "And he's mentally retarded." And I'm like, "Fantastic, I'm on board." He said, "And he flashes his genitalia. He's got to show his willy to the nurse." And I'm like, "Oh." He says, "Yeah." And I'm like, "I'll have to think about this one." And he says, "Well, three other actors have already turned it down." I said, "Three other people have already turned it down?" And he says, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh. No, I think I have to do it." They didn't have the nerve. So I went home and thought about it. I asked a couple of my chums what they had to say, and nobody's really any help. So I just decided everybody else chickened out. I'm going to do it. So it came to pass. I played this vacant cerebral palsy, mentally retarded boy who is one of the people at the Cerebral Palsy Institute in this play called Creeps. Yes. So, and it was written by a man with cerebral palsy. So he had a lot to say to the cerebral palsy community and for the CP community. Yes. During rehearsal, we went to the Cerebral Palsy Institute and uh, talked to a bunch of real people with CP and asked them about the script and our movements, what was possible, what wasn't possible, what was right, what wasn't right. And we learned a lot from them. They had a fantastic sense of humor. They said, "What's the name of the play?" We look at each other. "Well, it's called Creeps." One of them said, "Well, that's what we are." So everybody had a fantastic sense of humor, and they were very supportive. And they came out to see the show and loved it. So that was our badge of honor that we were that this show was accepted by the cerebral palsy community, and that was a huge artistic success for me, for the whole company. We worked very hard, and you know, that's the measure of success, is whether or not you've learned and grown. Not whether you've gotten good reviews or made a lot of money. That would be nice, but it's really about, to me, what a success was if it was an artistic success, if I had learned and grown during the course of the rehearsal and performance. Yes, so Creeps was a huge success, right? And my parents came to see Creeps, and I did not happen to tell them that they were going to see their son's genitalia. I said, be prepared. This is a show unlike anything that you've ever seen before in theater. And they said, all right. So they were in the audience. They had really good seats. They saw everything. Well, everybody saw everything. In Studio 100, where the play was, all the seats were good. And 100 seats, Studio 100 at University of Detroit, U of D, in Scheipel Hall. So after the performance, my parents came backstage, and every hair on their head was standing straight up still, and their eyes were still popping out half an inch or so, just a little bit. And so we're backstage, and everybody's congratulating each other and everything. And there's my parents in a slight state of shock. And my dad said, "Well, it was startling." And my mother said nothing. She was apoplectic. She just smiled, you know. And so we also got a great review. Once again, not the measure of success, but it was from a very important reviewer, Jay Carr, who went on to greater things as a reviewer for the Boston Globe. But he gave the show a great review, and he said that Harry Wetzel had obsidian brilliance. Yes, which I had to look up. I was thrilled. Obsidian is a dark, black, shiny glass that forms naturally. Yes. So anyhow, at least he liked it. Because a week or so later, I'm up in Howell, Michigan, visiting my parents. Up there, my mother's in the back room. She's painting. She was painting. She was always painting. She had still lives and landscapes and the like that she did. Very talented painter, actually. But my dad and I are up in the kitchen, and we're having a chat. And at one point, he says, and I'm like, uh-oh, I recognize this, something's up. He says, we love coming out to see your shows. We're your biggest fans. I'm sure you know that. Your mother and I love to see. We love the musicals and the comedies best, of course, but, we'll even come on out and stick with it for the dramas. However, the next time you're in a show like that, I'd appreciate it if you let us know because it upset your mother. And I'm like, well, I didn't know how to tell you guys. And he was like, should I go back and talk to her? Should I apologize? He said, she doesn't want to talk about it. And I'm like, oh. Well, it's really unlikely that there's going to be another show like that. I'll tell you that. So, but consider it done. Next time I'm in a show like that, I'll let you know. So anyhow, after that show, we're at the bar a couple times, and the teachers, David L. Regal and Arthur Beer, are like, "Who is this guy? Who is this Wetzel guy? Why don't we get him to come here? Why don't we get him to come to UAD?" And so, and then later on, Rodent's like, "Say, why don't you come to UAD? It'll be fun." And so I'm like, okay. So it sounds like a good idea. Go to one of the most expensive universities in the country. Great. So anyhow, after some bureaucracy and some red tape and some paperwork, I'm going to college. Dun, da, da. And isn't it fantastic? So now I'm in the Bachelor of Fine Arts, the BFA program over there at U of D. And we've got 3 brilliant teachers. We've got the mind, the body, and the soul. We do. We've got Arthur Beer, the cerebral one, the mind, David L. Regal, the body, the sort of guttural, real one, and Earl D.A. Smith, the most spiritual, most ethereal of all 3, the soul. Yes, it was 3 different approaches to acting, and we learned so much. It was a fantastic program to be in. We had to do everything. There was only a dozen or so of us in the program, so we had to do all the lights and props and costumes and everything, and it was a growing learning experience, right? And the first day of school, David L. Regal gave us a speech, and he said, "I own you," to all of the students, and we're like, "Does he really?" And then we realized later on, oh, it's not that serious. He only means our souls. Yes, and So anyhow, I'm in the first show of the season. It's called LaRonde, and I suck toe. I'm sucking a woman's foot. I'm sucking Prisha, my roommate, happens to be playing my scene partner, and I am sucking her toes like a porno film, as per the director David L. Regal's request or demand, shall I say. In either case, yes, I had to suck toe in this one, and then in the next scene, I drank champagne from my beloved friend Claudia shoe. Yes, it was a more romantic version of the foot fetish, which the director thought would be a very interesting character slant to have. Yes, well, my parents came to see La Ronde. It was called La Ronde. It was about the La Rondelay of love, and it was about people having affairs with each other. And my parents came backstage after that one, their eyes not bugged open quite as wide, but they just saw their son suck toe. And my mother said, "Whatever happened to the good old musicals?" So anyhow, the next show is the Devour the Snow show. Yes, Devour the Snow, where Marilyn and I, my sweet friend Marilyn, and I ran lights up in the booth for Devour the Snow, and that was over at Marygrove, and that was pretty good. That was a lot of fun. The and it led to the next show, which was the student directing project, and Marilyn directed me in a show called Gotcha, another terrific artistic success for me. It was a show about a tough kid who threatened to blow up himself and a couple of teachers with a motorcycle by dropping a lit cigarette into the gas tank. And that was an interesting and very learning show for me. Wonderful working with Marilyn as a director; she's brilliant. Anyhow, that was 1980. Now it's 1981, and the first show of the season is The Effect of Gamma Rays on Man in the Moon Marigolds. And Ricky, my cosmic friend Ricky, and I are the backstage crew. We had a lot of scene shifts in that one, but we weren't in the show. And that was a lovely show. And my brilliant, beautiful friend Kathleen from our old buddy Jason, she was in that, and Sweet Marilyn was in it, and Lily was in it. It was a fantastic show. It really was. After that came one of those good old musicals that my mother had been longing for all this time, called The Apple Tree. And it's a 3-act musical, and in that one, I had to wear a peach diaper in one of the acts. Not my favorite costume. Anyhow, my folks loved that one, so it was all right. And then the next one was Simon Gray's Butley, and I played David Regal's lover. Yes, and Earl D.A. Smith directed that one, and that was another growing and learning experience. And it was a terrific commercial success too, because I got a fantastic review. Yes, from Larry Devine, whom my mother already loved, as you know. Yes. She loved him even more after this one. Right. Then was the summer season, and I stage managed over at Greenfield Village, Little Mary Sunshine. I was doing the choreography off stage. It was so much fun. Then we did Peg Oh My Heart at Greenfield Village, an old time script from 1910, and I played the insufferable British cousin or something like that. Yes, Peg Oh My Heart. Then I played the Elephant Man in The Elephant Man. I played John Merrick, the Elephant Man, and Weasel directed that in Studio 100. Yes. And that was another artistic success. And that's a show where I met my beloved friend Annette. We had a couple of other great artistic successes together later on. Yes. That was The Elephant Man. After that, I did another show over at Wayne State University, Look Back in Anger. Right. And that was not a great artistic success for me. I was okay in it, but I got a chance to work with my old friend Reverend Z. Yes, that was a lot of fun. Look back at Alpaca. I mean, look back in anger. Yes. Next show was back at University of Detroit, Terra Nova, in which I froze to death at the bottom of the world in Antarctica. Okay, so at one point, Robert Falcon Scott, played by David L. Oh, and the show's directed by Suzanne. Yes. And so Robert Falcon Scott, played by David L. Regal, has to slap Edgar Evans, played by me, in the face. And so we're talking about it at rehearsal one day. And there's Suzanne, and there's David, and here's me. And he says, I think I should just slap him like this. Evans, you stupid bloody fool. Whack. And he hit me in the face. And I'm like, and then Suzanne said, yeah, well, I'm not so sure. Well, what if it was Evans, you stupid bloody fool? And he hit me slap, slap. Suzanne says, well, is he that upset? Or David says, well, what if he goes, Evans, you stupid bloody fool? And I said, hey. And they both went, oh, sorry. They had forgotten that I was in the room. Don't fool me. David didn't forget I was in the room. Then we did Arms and the Man. Yes, some George Bernard Shaw. I got to play against Amy Yazbek. Yes, sweet Amy. From my Brooklyn Halloween party, you remember. And that was a terrific amount of fun. But then we finished up the year with Brecht on Brecht, directed by Marilyn, over in Studio 100. That was another artistic success, and it was a fantastic evening in the theater. Even if I say so, we all did a great job. She put together in a great ensemble, and it's a fantastic script. I played Bertolt Brecht in Brecht on Brecht. Oh, how lucky. Now it's 1982. Now I'm stage managing over at Greenfield Village. I'm stage managing a production of Born Yesterday. Then I play Sancho Panza in Man of La Mancha at University of Detroit. Arthur Beer is Don Quixote de la Mancha. And that also not a great artistic success. Perhaps for Arthur, but not for me. I got panned in the newspaper, that one. And my mother hated that reviewer. That woman doesn't even know how to hold a pencil, she said. Anyhow, then Weasel was going to University of NYU and New York University, and he was in the film program, and he was writing his student film, and he called it Harry's Birthday, and I was to be Harry in Harry's Birthday, which meant I had to go out to New York to be in this movie. Yes, so he sent me a copy of the script. Rodent is to play my brother. Randy is to play my other brother. And I get killed in a drug deal gone wrong. It's a knee slapper in under 20 minutes. So I went to New York, and it was so exciting to go to New York as an actor. Right. Bill Dunning, da-da-da-da-da. And I had already driven to New York, went to the Statue of Liberty and everything, you remember. But I was going there as an actor. And so we shot this film in the course of a week. And it was so much fun, and we shot all the exteriors the first day. Here we are in New York shooting down here in Brooklyn in front of a house, and then it snowed that night in April. It snowed in April for crying out loud, and so all of our exterior shots were ruined the next day. We couldn't shoot any of them because everything was covered with snow, so we had to shoot all the interior shots. Oi, 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 and hope that the snow melts. Well, everything wound up working, and the snow melted, and we wound up shooting Harry's Birthday, and I wound up getting shot. But I felt that was another artistic success because that was my first, real movie. Then I'm back at Greenfield Village, and I do a play called The Henrietta, an 1880 show. This was in August 1982. Yes, that's where we are right now. And then I play in the 20th century, a brilliant screwball comedy that was done on stage and then in the movies with John Barrymore and Carole Lombard, one of the great movies. And that was another success. And then I did Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. Right, and that was a huge artistic success. My brilliant friend Jeffrey directed that one, and my other new friend Richard was Guildenstern. I was Rosencrantz, and that was the last show I did in New York before in Michigan before Suzanne called me up and she said, "You've got to come to New York." And then I packed up and went to New York, and then I got a job at a fancy booze store. Then I got a job in Terre Haute. Then I came home and I was homeless. Then I was jobless. Then I was looking for a job. Then I almost got killed by a car, and my life flashed before my eyes, which brings us up to this present moment again. It is November 28th, 1983, a gloomy Monday. And what happened next, I'll tell you later on, the next time I see you. I look forward to it. Ha ha ha!